Hi, I'm Bill Woodard, and welcome to the February version of the Chamber Corner. Well, we are here at the Chamber Corner, and we're actually on the back wall, not in the corner. Sorry about that. That was a poor joke, wasn't it? We've got Mary Leslie Wakefield here with us, and she's with the Smith County Drug Prevention Coalition. And Mary, you had a couple of things you wanted to talk about today?
Yes, because Valentine's Day is coming up. We've I've got a tobacco prevention campaign going. It's called Let's Break Up with Tobacco. I don't know if you've seen our billboards or not.
Yeah.
But what we've been telling the kids is, it's a great time to break up with tobacco. They make a terrible boyfriend or girlfriend. They try to control you. They take all your money. And of course, all the health benefits, it's not too healthy for you either. So that's just something we're trying to promote. And if you're listening today and you're thinking, I am so tired of smoking, I wish I could quit. Well, I'm telling you, there is help. We say quitting is hard, but getting help is easy. You can call the Tennessee Quit Line number. They'll have counselors on there that will help you. You can get 2 weeks of cessation patches for free, and the counselors are wonderful. They'll give you all kind of tips and ways to quit smoking. And once again, it's all free: the patches, the counseling, everything, and they'll work with you up to a year. So it's a wonderful, wonderful service if you're ready to take that step.
Okay, and I know there's a lot of other things going on, but this is what you're talking about this month.
Yeah, for February,
For
yes.
February. And tobacco addiction, a lot of people don't think of it as an addiction, but that's exactly what it is.
Yes, I'm a nurse, or I'm a retired nurse now, and my last years of nursing, I started noticing the doctors were writing for a diagnosis nicotine addiction. I had never seen that before, because it really is an addiction, and it's probably one of the hardest addictions to kick. We have a scale at the office, and heroin's first, but nicotine's second. So it is very addicting. And vaping, of course, is so big with our kids right now. And what we know is that 1 in every 4 student that starts vaping, they'll turn to tobacco, and they become addicted to it. And of course, that's what the tobacco companies want, because that means they have a paying customer
for the rest of their life.
That's right, and they're always looking for paying customers, because their customers die off, because how devastating tobacco and nicotine is to the health. So they're always looking for those new customers.
And it's kind of funny. People have been fighting this for many decades. When I was a little child, I'll never forget the little poem they taught us. It was tobacco is an evil weed. Was the devil that sowed the seed. It drains your pocket and stains your clothes and makes a chimney of your nose. When I was a little tiny kid, they taught us that. So, folks, I don't know if you thought that was a little humorous, but addiction of any kind is a terrible thing, and tobacco addiction is probably one of the hardest to get rid of, because people really think it's innocuous. It's really not that harmful, and it is harmful.
Yes, I can remember as a young mother, my children, I did not want my boys or my daughter to smoke, but my mentality was, well, if it's the worst thing they do, that's not too bad. But really, that was terrible, terrible thinking on my part, because I didn't understand about addiction. Addiction is a pediatric acquired disease. So if they start using these substances where their brain is still maturing and growing, it actually changes the way that pathways of the brain, how it develops, and it makes them at risk and easier to develop not only addiction to nicotine, but to the drugs and the alcohol, and which can be so devastating to somebody's life.
Yeah, well, I know you guys do a wonderful job of getting the message out. Anything else you want to mention while you're here?
Well, we have changed our date of our coalition meetings. They used to be on the second Wednesday, but we have changed them to the second Thursday right here in the Chamber of Commerce, 12 noon. We would love for you to attend. You can attend by Facebook Live, Zoom, or in person. And we would love for you to come at our next meeting. And that's not this Thursday, but next Thursday.
Okay. All right. Well, Mary, thank you for coming by, and hopefully people will take your message to heart.
Thank you, Bill.
We are blessed to have a wonderful UT Extension service here in Smith County, and this young lady is one of the folks that makes things happen. Her name is Katie Martin. Katie, what do you got for us today?
Well, as always, we have many 4-H opportunities for our youth here in Smith County. One thing that they have recently done is the poster contest. We had a couple great posters turned in, and you'll be able to see those hanging up soon at some local businesses, so make sure to check those out. The next contest some of our 4-Hers are participating in is the Piggy Bank contest. So this contest not only gives them an opportunity to be creative and get into some arts and crafts, but we also learned a little bit about smart money habits like spending and saving and needs versus wants. We also will have demonstrations and interactive exhibits coming up shortly, so our youth will learn a little bit more about public speaking skills. And as always, we have some judging team opportunities coming up. So if you have 4-Hers that might be interested in learning more about horse judging, livestock judging, or shooting sports like archery, make sure to call our office and get them signed up or find out more information. We also have a group of 4-Hers that have put together an ATV safety PSA. This video can be found on our Facebook page, and we're actually in a competition right now to try to get as many likes as we can on that video on the YouTube link. So if you're interested in learning a little bit about ATV safety and helping some of our 4-H members maybe win a contest, we would love for you to check that out as well.
Yeah, that's a very good thing. I know ATVs are, if you aren't careful with them and you don't ride them right, they can be very harmful.
Absolutely.
I remember when I was young growing up, they started out with the 3-wheel versions, and those were very dangerous for small children.
Well, we always recommend that anybody on an ATV wears a helmet, that the ATV is, the right size for you, especially those smaller kids, not to ride on a paved road, only use them for their intended purpose, and of course not to use them under the influence of alcohol or drugs. So a couple, quick things can help you stay a lot safer on an ATV.
Yeah, and they're common sense things that we intuitively should know, but sometimes we need to be reminded.
Absolutely.
Okay, anything else going on?
Yeah, so I am also going to talk just a little bit about the ag programs we have coming up as well. Chris Hicks couldn't be with us here today, but he sent me with some flyers so everybody could make sure that they stayed up to date about all of our agriculture opportunities. So one of those you may be familiar with is our Lunch and Learn series. We've been doing these for a while now. We get to come do them in here, but we're also broadcasting them on Zoom for those that may not feel comfortable or it may be more convenient to join us online. So we have some of those coming up. Our March 3rd Lunch and Learn will be all about seed starting. We have a great speaker, Lucas Holman, coming in to talk about that. So if you're interested in getting a jump on your garden, you definitely should come check out our seed starting Lunch and Learn. And then we also have, in partnership with some of our surrounding extension counties, we have Extension Ag Talk Tuesday. And these are Zooms. The February 16th one is on beekeeping, and the March 16th one is on lawn and landscapes. So if you're interested in any of these topics and want to get signed up, the best way to do that is give us a call at the Extension office at 615-735-2900, and we'll make sure you get all the information.
Okay, and this is the right time of the year for those topics.
Absolutely.
For sure, because spring is on its way.
For sure.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Katie, is that it for? I know you do a lot of work with 4-H, and I tend to mention this a lot when I do get to interview you. Tell Grace we miss her. She's at UT now.
She is, absolutely.
Yeah, and for those of you that don't know, Miss Grace Harvey used to do a season with Grace. With
She's
us.
Actually in the collegiate 4-H up there at UT and helping the Tennessee 4-H Foundation. So she has not quit 4-H. She's just kind of moved on into the next chapter.
Kind of moved into the next level.
Yep.
Well, tell her we could use a East Tennessee version of Season with Grace.
We'll get right on that.
Tell her to send us a tape. All right. Well, Katie, thank you.
No problem. Thank you, guys.
Well, once again, UT has sent over one of their very sharp people, and Miss Mary Draper Parker. I always want to use your maiden name for some reason. Anyway, Mary's come over here to tell us a few things that are going on. Now, before you get started on what's going on, every year you guys do something called the Chocolate Extravaganza, and I know it's early in February, so if you're watching this, you may have already missed it, but it's still something to hear about for next year if you missed it this year. Tell them about Chocolate Extravaganza.
Okay, the Chocolate Extravaganza is an FCE, which stands for Family and Community Education, sponsored event every year that we hold on Valentine's Day, unless Valentine's Day is on a weekend like this 2021 year calendar is on a weekend, so we'll do it on Friday, February the 12th. But we hold this event to help with our projects throughout the year. So this year is going to sponsor a 4-H camp, Line and Design, so that intertwines with our FCE mission, where they're going to learn how to sew and do some crafts as well. So that will help those kids be able to do that. And then if we have a little bit of money, also we plan to help the Spot, which is an after-school group for 7th through 12th grade. Is that right?
Right.
So they have a safe place to go where they can play games and.
They teach music there too.
I think I did that, yes.
Yeah.
That's great. And then I think they have meals or snacks as well.
They do. They sure do. And so if you're listening to this and it's February the 13th, you missed it this year. But if you put it on your calendar for next year, and what you basically get to do is you get a box of candy filled to the top for $5.
Yes, you do. And this year we're going to do prepackaged. So everybody will get the same amount of goodies and same variety. So there will be things like chocolate covered strawberries, Oreo balls, all kinds of chocolate goodies. Of course, it all has to have chocolate in it because the Chocolate Extravaganza, but you'll get a little bit of everything, and we'll pack it as full as we can, and it's $5, and that goes to a great cause.
Okay, and when we're in a non-COVID year, you get to come in and pick the stuff yourself, and I think you'll go back to that after the pandemic is over.
Probably, yes. But this year, just to make it safer for everyone, we're doing those prepackaged, and it's also going to be a drive-through event. So we're still having it here at the chamber, but people will just line up, and an FCE member will bring out your order straight to your car. So that also makes it a little bit more efficient and easier for the people.
Okay, and you got some stuff going on past the 13th of February. What's going on?
Yeah, so I was going to talk about America Saves Weeks, which starts February the 22nd, and that's something that UT helps promote in conjunction with America Saves. So it's a campaign to kind of a call to action as well as a celebration on helping people to save. So a good way to save is saving automatically. So automatically transferring some savings into your from your checking account into your savings account, and you can do that by calling your bank or credit union. A good way to start with that, a goal would be $10 a week, and then up it if you can. And if you get direct deposits from your employer, you can also do a split direct deposit, so that's an automatic way of saving as well. You also want to keep in mind your retirement plan. So many Americans don't plan for retirement, the lifestyle they want to have as early as they could, but there's never too early or too late to start. So you just want to be mindful to do that, especially if your employer matches percentage of that 401k or retirement plan. You never want to give away free money, so that's kind of a good way to incentive to start saving as well. So things like that.
Yeah, well, that's good advice because, like you said, it's never too late to start, and so you can do that stuff. Now, one thing before you, well, you may have some other things, but I had one thing I wanted to ask you about. If you're
Yes.
Anything else?
No, just we want to always plan to save. So that's just a kind of a call to action in order to save. That's the tips I have on the top of my head. So
Okay. Well, every year we go to the schools, and I don't know if you get to do it this year or not because of the situation that we're in, but it's called On My Own. You reminded me of that. and that is a really good program, and that sort of goes along with this saving idea. We get those young people in there, and you have somebody from the bank, and I come from the chamber and other people, and I just describe that.
Yeah,
how that is.
so On My Own is a financial simulation in which we go to the schools. We usually do it with high school students because they're a little bit older, but you could do it with junior high as well. But since those high school students are getting ready to go out on their own, it's good practice for them. In the simulation, they're 26 years old, and they're 26 because at that time they have to have their own insurance. And they each have to go to a different station, whether it be a curveball, which is what Bill usually does, where life always has you curveball, which is a good way to also save is by having that emergency fund in place, because you might have to go to the emergency room for a broken arm, or you might have a flat tire. So those things happen to us all, unfortunately, and lots of Americans don't plan on saving that and don't have enough money to cover that $1,000 or so to cover that expense. So that's one station, as well as you have to buy a home, and with that comes utilities.
Insurance.
And yes. So, and when you have that car, you don't just have to buy the car, you have to buy insurance, gasoline, you have to think about those kind of things as well. So it really gets them thinking, and some of the times, some people have to get a second job in order to make it through the month. So we also, another tip for America Save would be, paying off your debt as much as you can. So that's kind of, paying off your debt is a way of saving, because you're saving, if you're actively doing that, you're saving money on interest. And of course, you don't want to have late fees as well. So just things like that. The high school students are pretending that they're in a situation where they're on their own, and depending on the scenario, their personality assessment, they choose the job, or we randomly give them a job based on their personality in a family scenario. So some people get lucky and they only have to take care of themselves, but other people have families to care for as well.
Yeah, and it's a good practice, and it kind of gives them an idea of what life is going to hit them with a little bit later on, and which everybody needs that kind of wake up. Well, Mary, thank you very much.
Yes.
Next time, tell Chris to come and visit with us. We miss him. He
will next time, I'm sure. He's very busy, so he's in a meeting right now. He's working hard.
Okay. Well, Mary, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, Miss Virginia Alexander has come to be with us today, and Virginia, you're going to talk to us about, one of the premier events that happen every year, and it's going to happen again this year. It got postponed last year because of the pandemic crisis, but tell them about, tell them who you are, who you're with, and why you're here.
Okay. I'm Virginia Alexander, and I am on the River City Ball Committee. This will be our third event, fourth year in planning. Again, last year it got canceled because of COVID. This year it is going to be on April 24th. It is on the square in Carthage, on the courthouse grounds, and right in front of the courthouse on Main Street. And we put this event together to give people in Smith County a night out on the town and a chance to donate to local nonprofits. So each year we change who our beneficiary is. This year it is the Emmanuel House in town, and so we have a great event lined up. Yeah.
Well, I know we always have a band.
We do. This year we will have a live band again. We're still working out some details, but we will have a swing band there. The theme is 1920s, so we have coordinated some really cool things and decorations for the event. We're encouraging everybody to dress in 1920s wear, so I'm excited to see everybody's outfits. Yeah,
that's going to be neat. And what I love about it, you people come through with their cars. You have the well, my mind went blank.
The valet.
Valet, thank
Yes.
you. You have the valet and service, and then you come in and register and do your tickets, make the picture, and then of course, I love the tent. One of the years I attended and it rained,
Yes.
but we still had a good time and still had a good event.
It was completely planned and on brand because that year we did a masquerade, so thunderstorms kind of go with that theme.
Yeah.
So it worked out in our favor at least. I think once everybody got their food, and it really started coming down. Everybody was like, oh, well, whatever, and they just danced the night away. So it was a good thing.
Yeah, I didn't notice anybody that really was uncomfortable or got wet. That's how well this event is planned. Now, you've got a fairly large committee on that,
No, we do. We have about, I'd say anywhere from 10 to 20 people, just depending. We start off with a little bit less, and it grows throughout the year as we gather sponsorships and people start getting more involved, and then it kind of dwindles back down after the event until we start planning the next one. So.
Well, now we're sitting here talking about it. I heard a rumor that it might be sold out already. Is that correct?
It is, yes. So our general admission tickets are sold out. We do have a wait list started, so if something comes available or if there are people who are not able to fill their tables, which has happened in the past, then we will try to coordinate seats for everyone. There are some sponsorships available that we're still trying to fill, and if we're going to set a deadline, we have a meeting this evening actually, and we'll set a deadline on when those seats can become available if the sponsorships are not filled. But ideally, we would like to fill all of the sponsorships first.
Okay, so you do actually have a few tables,
We do.
but it's a sponsorship for an entire table.
Correct.
Okay, and of course, I'm going to put you on the spot, ask you a question I shouldn't ask. Why not get a bigger tent?
Well, we just capacity-wise, that strip right there in front of the
know the
courthouse.
answer. You've only got so much room there.
I know, yeah. We only have it really is packed with about 300 people there. We're looking at some other options as well. Because we'd love to include more people, but at the same time, we also know the capacity of the staff for the catering and for the volunteers that are there. And so the bigger it goes, the more expensive it gets and the more complicated it gets for setup. So we're kind of at a good level with 300 people right now, but we are looking at other options as well.
Okay, and I know when you can, and as it grows, you will expand, and I know that. You've been at about this level for the last three presentations, and so
Yes.
Feel comfortable with that. Well, I know the times, actually I think I've been to all of them, and they have been wonderful.
Thank you.
And what I think is wonderful is where you sponsor the local charity in the Manual House this year is the one that you're sponsoring. Now, I don't know if you want to speak on their behalf, but I've been lucky enough to be on their board, and I know it is a shelter for women who are having to get their lives back together, and in many cases they would be homeless and on the street if it wasn't for Emmanuel House. And it's my understanding, I hope, folks, if I get this wrong, forgive me, but I believe they have 11 young ladies and 4 or 5 children in there right this minute. And they have a couple of people that are graduating, and then somebody ready to move right in. And it's a really good program. They help them get their lives together, get a job, get things in order. And when you enter in a Emmanuel House, the goal is for you to move out.
Yes.
And I think it's a 12-month program, if I remember correctly. And they're supervised, and it's a really good program. And some do not make it all the way to the end because it's a tough program. But those that do graduate, and I think that night, do you know, I think there's going to be some graduates there.
I believe so.
yeah.
Yes, we are encouraging them to attend and tell their stories and just have a good time with everybody else. So we actually have a couple of them that have been involved in the planning for the committee this year. So they've been a great help as far as, the overall event, and then also how to help have an event that does have alcohol available, how to cater to people who may not want to participate in that, and so how we can do that in an appropriate way.
Right, and when you think about it, I was from a small child. I've been taught this saying there, but for the grace of God go I, and you never know how life is going to hit you or someone in your family, and they might need help like this. So it's good to support these things and help people when they need a hand up, and not necessarily a handout.
Yeah, and they have a great program there. I've been fortunate to sit down with some of them in the past, and it's very encouraging, and we're excited to have them involved in the planning process and to be able to benefit the house and the organization overall. And we've got, every year we have great sponsors, and the top 2 that we have this year, Citizens Bank and Rackley Roofing, right now are splitting the River City sponsorships, and they have continued every year to sponsor, and they love the Emmanuel House, so they're really really excited to see this, especially since last year's event got canceled. And then, of course, the River City tasting.
Taste of River City, yeah.
It got canceled as well this year. So, yeah, we're excited to be able to support them and show them a good night on the town.
Okay, well, thank you for coming by. Is there anything else we need to mention that's going on that you're...
No, I will just say if you're interested in sponsoring or if you are interested in trying to attend, you can message us on Instagram or Facebook, and we will start putting people on the wait list, or we can coordinate some sponsorship efforts as well. So we'd love to have you involved, whether it's in attendance or as a sponsor.
Okay, and the table is 6 or 8 or how
It's
many?
$7.50, and the tickets are, and it seats 10 people.
10 people, okay.
Yeah, and then the tickets are $75 each.
Okay,
Yeah.
so if you've got a group out there and you want to put together and sponsor a table, everybody chip in, you could do that. And you've got a few of those sponsorship tables left, so.
The table sponsorships are full, but the other corporate sponsorships, we have
Okay.
a couple of those available, and the tickets vary as far as how many are with each sponsorship. But if you're interested, just reach out to us and we can give you more information.
Okay, give them a number or contact.
It's just on Facebook or Instagram, or our email address is rivercityball@outlook.com.
Okay, so folks, remember that, and we'll look forward to seeing you there. Well, we're always happy to have a chamber member come by, and one of our chamber members that's in business here in town. And by the way, if you're watching this program and you're a chamber member and you want to get on the TV and tell people about what you do, or just a special you've got going on that particular month, please contact us. You can talk to me or Haley Manis or Nancy Richardson and set it up. We do these on the first Wednesday of every month. And we may not be taping at this particular spot, but we will be taping somewhere. And we would love to have you tell people about your business and what you're doing. And with that said, Brad, we're really glad you came by. Why don't you introduce yourself, tell them who you're with.
Sure, yeah, thank you for the invite as always, Bill. Always good to sit here and talk with you. I am Brad Smith. I am the State Farm Insurance Agent here for Smith County. I've been in Smith County for the last few years. I operate another business that we'll discuss shortly, but I am the new agent here. I've been here about 6 months now, and of course we do auto, homeowners, life insurance, health insurance, and small business insurance. So any of those types of needs that you might have, if you'd like a quote, or if your current agent has just never really kind of reviewed your coverages that you have, that's something that we're big on, because we want you to know what you're paying for and what you've got. I find a lot of people, Bill, seem to be underinsured, especially on their liability coverages on their autos. And, you know, just like for us, a lot of our policyholders have had policies with us for 20, 30 years. Well, 20, 30 years ago, $50,000 worth of property damage liability coverage was just fine. That's back when cars probably averaged $20,000. Now, when you've got new pickup trucks and new SUVs that average $65,000, $75,000, and your liability coverage is only $50,000, if you were to get in an accident, anything above $50,000, if that's your coverage, would have to come out of your pocket rather than that of your insurance companies. So that's one of those things that we really want people to come in and review the coverage that they have, because my job's not to sell you something. I'm not in the sales business. I'm in the protection business. And so we just want to make sure that if you're here in Smith County or in the area, or you're definitely one of our customers, we just want to make sure you get the protection that you deserve and that you're paying for.
Okay, well now how do they get in touch? Where are you located and all that contact information?
Sure. We're on Main Street, 510 Main Street North in Carthage, across from the Carthage Courier, the newspaper. We're open Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 5. Or any other time by appointment. If you can't make those times because of work or whatever, we will gladly make time for you, whether it be weekends or nights, whatever. I have a staff of myself plus two. Miss Rachel Bennett and Miss Shelby Lehman are my team members, and they're very knowledgeable. They're licensed in all our products, and you know, come see us anytime. We'd be glad to help you out in any way we could.
Okay, and that's State Farm on Main Street.
State Farm, 510 Main Street North. And now I guess we may want to transition to...
Well, yeah, prior to becoming a State Farm agent, you had the Tennessee Kayak Outdoors. And I understand that you're still involved in a way with that.
I'm still involved in Tennessee Kayak and Outdoor Company, also same location, 510 Main Street North here in Carthage. My wonderful friend, Heather Mason, she is my general manager and she operates it. I am the owner. My only two things that I really handle anymore is I take out the trash and I make the bank deposit. So she does everything else. So if you need anything other than that regarding those, speak with Heather. The season's about to get started. If you got any questions or you want to go ahead and pre-book, our website is TennesseeKayak.com, or you can call 615-735-7995 or text and get Heather, and would love to set you up for groups. We do groups, whether it be church or civic organizations, school groups. But we do individual floats for half a day and full day on the Caney Fork and the Cumberland. So, of course, we love Smith County. It's been wonderful to us, and we're so thankful to be here.
Well, since you're talking about that, I don't know if it's in the vision of the TV screen right now, but if you look behind you, this is our new wayfinding sign that we have that is going to go up at each one of the areas that's depicted on there. And we've got, it's a powder-coated metal sign, and we're going to put them up, well, they're all listed there on the Cumberland River, Rome, Cordell Hall Bridge, and Carthage boat ramp here on the Cumberland River. And then on the Caney Fork, the South Carthage access, and then Piper's Ford, Stonewall, Gordonsville, Betty's Island, Happy Hollow, and those are places that we're going to be putting these signs where people will be able to tell where they are, and it's going to have the mile marker you can see in the middle here, telling you exactly where you are on the river. And then on the back side, it's got some historic places that we have just pictures of them. If people are, a lot of times we have visitors that are coming in from outside and they don't really realize there's anything else to see here. And so we're going to be putting these signs up here in the next few weeks. We got permission from the Corps of Engineers and from TWRA, and we're going to be placing those. And this is part of our CARES Act money that we got.
Oh, wonderful. Okay.
So it turned out really well, and hopefully that'll also help you and outfitters and just individuals that are using the river to be able to kind of know where they're at and where they're at on the river and where they're headed.
Sure, and that's going to be a great help with the signs and the mile markers. A lot of times, like you said, folks come in from out of town who aren't familiar with rivers, and they're not really sure where they're at on there, or they a lot of times have a smartphone and can follow along a little bit, but this is going to make it way easier, especially, we typically our business brings between 200 and 300 people to Smith County every weekend, and they're always looking for places to go eat or things to do here, so we try and part of our speech is we either take them to the river or bring them back, or about things to do here in Smith County, things to see, whether it be restaurants, historical spots, and so we try and educate them as much as we can when they come and go with us.
Well, I think these are going to help, and we're going to be putting them up, and part of the thing that we're going to try to do is get the Piper's Ford access built, and then, Rome is not going to need a whole lot. It's already got the ramp in. And then I'd love to see another access at Lock 7, and I think maybe that'll happen here in the next year or two. And so we're going to be able to pull a lot of people in, I think, to do river recreation.
I think Smith County is kind of a very unknown jewel here in the Upper Cumberland, that a lot of the people that live within an hour or 2 hours drive of here, probably in the next few years, are really going to get to know a lot better based on the things that we can offer here.
Yeah, and the upper end towards Center Hill Dam, people are there, and you got kayakers and trout fishermen that are kind of vying for the river. And when you get down past Betty's Island, it's sort of the kayakers and not so much the fishermen. And as you get down on this end of the river, of course, it's just kayakers, and maybe fishermen in boats. And I think that's going to make a good combination for everybody, and hopefully drive some of the traffic down here. And then if you've got a business here in Carthage, these folks are going to be coming in and buying burgers and fries and looking at the shops and the antiques and things like that. So it's a good thing all the way around.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And if you have brochures or if you have bed and breakfast or anything that you would like to promote, that information that we could give folks in the kayak shop, please feel free to drop it by. Our season should open around mid-April. Feel free to drop information by. We always love passing on information about other things to do in the county. And at the same time, if you have some type of business that I can help with State Farm, I'd love to do that. You know, obviously we're always giving referrals out for roofers or some form of contractors or people who do automotive work. You know, stop by and see me someday, you know. I might ask you if I can give you a free quote while you're in there, but, you know, I'd love to build a, you know, that's what it should all be about. We should all be helping each other grow, because I think that's part of it. You know, we're supposed to be good stewards for each other.
I agree with that. Yeah. Well, Brad, thanks for coming by. Give them that contact information one last time.
So again, 510 Main Street North, State Farm. Telephone number there is 615-735-1812. And Tennessee Kayak and Outdoor Company. Again, 510 Main Street North, and the number for that is 615-735-7995.
Okay. Thank you, Brad.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we are so happy to have Miss Pam Billington come with us. Pam, tell them who you're with and everything.
All right. I'm Pam Billington, and I'm with the Smith County Heritage Museum.
All right, and let's talk about the museum first. I know why you came, which is a subject this month, but Heritage Museum, tell them where it's located and the hours and when it's open.
The museum is located on 3rd Avenue, and we are open on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays from 10 until 2 in the afternoon.
Okay, and the museum has been around for many years.
Yes.
In fact, I can't remember the first year.
About 2002, so it's almost 20 years.
Almost 20 years.
It's been open.
Yeah, and a lot of good exhibits, and it's dedicated to Smith County Heritage.
Yes.
And so if you're out there and you haven't visited the Smith County Heritage Museum, you've missed a treat.
Right. Yes, and I want to mention the newest donation we've had to the museum.
Okay.
It's a piece of furniture, a sideboard, and it has history back to the early days of Smith County. The Bradley family, I believe it belonged to the Bradley family, and they lived in the Dixon Springs, Bledsoboro area. And it was in their home, and then one of their daughters married an Alexander, I believe, and she took the piece with her, but it has since made its way back to the Heritage Museum.
Oh, wonderful.
And it's been refinished, and it's a very lovely piece of furniture, and we are very pleased to have that on display.
Wonderful. I'm glad to hear that. It's always good when you get a good piece like that.
Oh, yeah.
Well, now, this is a special month, and we have a citizen that lived here in Smith County, and we're going to talk about him. This is Black History Month, is that right?
That's right.
And so you guys have a display down there, and our famous citizen is Mr. D. Ford Bailey.
Exactly, yes.
And now I remember he was on the Grand Ole Opry.
Right.
He was a harmonica player and played, I guess, on the Grand Ole Opry until he passed from this life.
He did from time to time. He was born in 1899. Down on the edge of the Wilson County, Smith County line, down in the Rome community probably. I don't know exactly where he lived as a young child, but as a young child he had polio. And that's how he learned to play the harmonica. He was given a harmonica when he was recuperating, and he played with it and self-taught himself how to play the harmonica, and was known as the harmonica wizard on the Grand Ole Opry, I think.
He was pretty famous with that.
And he was able to, his family, they moved to the Nashville area as a younger, like a teenage boy, I think, and he worked around down there and probably, enhanced his abilities to play, and was invited to perform on the Grand Ole Opry.
Well, now we've got a treat in that there is a series of signs in the state of Tennessee called the Tennessee Music Pathways. And we received delivery of our sign for Smith County. It's
great.
actually in the back hallway there, and we're waiting for them to give us permission to, they want to do a ceremony
Right.
and when they put it up, and it is D. Ford Bailey, and we're planning on putting it up in front of the courthouse here on Main Street.
Right. Well, we have a display of D. Ford. We have his suit, and we have his harmonica, and of course we have lots of newspaper articles and pictures that the family has given us, and we have a section in the museum dedicated to him.
Yeah, and Mr. Bailey was a wonderful musician, and his son actually came up to one of our festivals and played. He was a bass player, and I haven't heard from him, so I don't know where he is now. But he came up and he was a bass player, and he talked about his dad, and so there's a lot of connection to Smith County with that.
Well, D. Ford was the first African American to be on the stage of the Grand Ole Opry, and of course he was from Smith County, and he traveled with Roy Acuff and Dave Macon and some others, but he did perform quite often. From 1927 till about the early 40s, I think he was on the stage fairly often. But after that, he wasn't. Something happened, and he wasn't performing as much. But the Grand Ole Opry did institute him as a member of the Grand Ole Opry and recognized him in the 80s, I believe, as being a member of the Grand Ole Opry. So.
Well, I'm glad we can honor him and let people know who he is.
Yeah.
And you have other things, of course, that go along with Black History Month
Yes, we have
in
other
the
pictures
museum.
of other residents from our county that are, contributing to our history here in Smith County.
Okay. Well, once again, tell people the hours and how they can contact.
Right. Well, the Smith County Heritage Museum is open on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays from 10 until 2. And you can call us at 615-735-1104. Or you can contact us by email at the Heritage Museum, and that's at dtccom.net.
Okay, and of course there's a Facebook page.
Yes,
and
Facebook page.
and a web page.
Yes.
So there's a lot of ways for you to get in touch with the museum.
Yeah. But come by during Black History Month and see this display of D. Ford Bailey. We'd love
Okay.
to have you.
All right, Miss Pam, thank you for coming by.
Thank you for having me.
Well, we've had the privilege here of being able to do a Zoom call with our state representative, Miss Terri Lynn Weaver. She's got a few things that she can let us know about, and our coverage area that we have here with DTC covers a lot of the folks that she represents. So we're really happy to have her join us from her office down at the state capitol. So Representative Weaver, thank you for being with us today.
Sure. Thank you for your patience and helping me get all zoomed up here so we can rock and roll. But it's an honor to be here. It's an honor to serve the great folks of the fabulous 40th. And any kind of questions you have, we'll get started and kind of give you an upcap of where we are.
Okay, well now I know in previous sessions you were actually chairman of the Transportation Committee, and we'll talk about that a little bit because you're still on that committee, but you've actually taken on a new role, something that is close to your heart. You want to talk about education and what your role is with that right now?
Well, I'd be honored to. Yeah, I have served on education, Billy, for the whole time I've been down here, except for one term I served on criminal justice, and which I love that as well. But as you know, every other year in the district, I have toured the schools, all of my schools, since the get-go. I enjoy that. I like going in the classroom. I like mingling with the teachers and our principals, which they are amazing folks. Your lovely bride, Miss Susie, when she was principal. So I've enjoyed education, have grandkids in the public schools, so that is a passion of mine. And what has happened this year, I've pretty much put a real focus on working with, we call us the nuke team, of 4 of us here on the House side that are really passionate about making Tennessee #1. You know, we're all about being the best we can be our best. So we're focused on that. We have a team, and I will be chairing, vice chair of the full Instructional Education Committee. So I'll be working hand in hand with the chairman, which is Representative Deborah Moody on the House side. I'm looking forward to that. You know, there's so much education. Well, is second to only health, our health care here in Tennessee in terms of spending money. I mean, we spend billions of dollars in education. So we got to get it right.
Right.
We want our kids to do well, and we certainly want to do all we can for our teachers because, like I said, they're phenomenal.
Yeah, and every place in the state, you have urban and you have metropolitan and you have rural, and so each one of those has a little bit different need and a little different requirement, and I'm sure you have to take that into account. And of course, your district is mixed like that. The 40th has urban and rural and city in it, so you have to kind of wear several hats when it comes to education, dealing with that.
Oh yeah, and of course the main key is to let those LEAs, those local education educational districts, let them have the liberty to tailor their needs per county. That's very important. And so I'm grateful for that. What we do in Smith County doesn't necessarily work in Davidson County. So
yes,
we want to keep that going.
And that's
so we
true.
had, we had special session. Actually, to come to think about it, we've had special session most of the year. This COVID 2020 thing has been, as we know, I can't even come in and meet, eyeball to eyeball. We do all these Zoom things. But it has changed the way we're doing, we did session this year. We had to close early in March. The House side had all of their legislation passed, but the Senate side decided they were only going to do certain topics, which only had to deal with finances that had to do with COVID. So actually, when we start up next week here in session, I have legislation I've already passed in the House, but got to get a new number and put it to the system again to bring it through for this term in order for it to pass. And I had I had some really good education bills to help our teachers. So, and then we had special session come in to deal with the learning loss and the literacy and things that we were experiencing in our schools where kids are doing school virtually, some schools are doing hybrid versions. So it's just kind of a mix and match of things. And unfortunately, it's just been really difficult, not only for our kids, but also for parents and with kids being home, and then our teachers, because they're teaching to some kids, and then some kids are out in virtual land, and so you don't, it's just been challenging. So we had to deal with all that in terms of, for instance, evaluation. How do you bring accountability to kids showing up? It's just a whole, I'm sure Susie brings you a bunch of things when she comes home.
Well, yeah, it has been definitely a different year, and it's hard on some of the children because of the remote learning. Some children, remote learning is wonderful. They sail right through it. Other children, they've got to have that one-on-one and that interaction with an instructor, and so that's one of the things that they're running into. Seem to be doing pretty well with it, the way they have managed it here in the county. I haven't seen any real, I guess you'd call it, wide swings in grades and things like that. But there are some children that this has been a struggle for them, and that's unfortunate. As far as education itself, I know you're going to be visiting the schools and coming around and doing what you've done in time past. Is there any one big thing right now, or you guys are just basically getting started with the education sessions, right?
Yes, we are. You know, of course, we passed its special session in January last month. We passed we needed to get something in gear for school for this year. One of which, you know, I shared earlier about the literacy. We're on a phonics-based only curriculum. So we can get, in other words, we've got way too many kids by third grade who can't read. And these kids cannot read. You know, you can't build the foundation of learning if you can't read. And so that's what we're having to deal with. So we've put together some, legislation, one of which every local education agency is required to use the phonics-based literacy skills to teach reading. So we will have things in place for our schools, our local LEAs to embrace and to do to reach that goal of every child in third grade must know how to read. We did an accountability part to that legislation in House Bill 7003. It's going to hold our teachers in schools and their districts harmless for assessments. This is really important. As I said earlier, Billy, you can't hold a teacher accountable for children that are not in the classroom. And like I said, some of these kids are not reporting in, they're not even coming in on the Zoom calls, or they're not, we don't know where they're at. So I think it's very, it's just not right to hold a teacher accountable for kids who aren't coming. So what it does is we were going to have our teachers and LEAs, they're able to choose to keep the assessment scores in their evaluations if they do well for them, or if they're not good numbers, that's not gonna be detrimental to them either. And that's very important. And as I said earlier, we had the learning loss with a lot of our kids just not showing up, especially our kids in special needs classes and the low-income homes. So what we've done is we've set up some after-school classes for catch-up for these kids. We've also set up a bridge. It's called remediation camps over a course of 2 summers. It's kind of like a pilot program, Billy. So kids can either take a bridge camp or a summer camp. The bridge camp is like 4 weeks. Summer camp is, summer school is 6 weeks. Remember back in the day when you and I were in school,
Yeah.
If you didn't meet a certain benchmark, you went to summer school. It was just a no-brainer. And then you were able to catch up. You either did that or you stayed behind.
Yeah.
And what's happening is our system has pushed these kids through, and that's why we have kids, you know, in 5th, 6th, and 7th, and 8th, they cannot read. Again, Houston, we have a problem. So we're going to have to address this and quit putting these kids forward. So the learning loss issue was going to take care of that. Again, it's a pilot program. The state's going to pay for pick up the tab. We have the money to do it, and we feel it's important to do this, catch these kids up and get them back in the saddle again. That's what we did at special session. We addressed the literacy, learning loss, and the accountability part of school. And I think, like I said, it's a pilot program. It's a 2-year gig. Let's see what happens. And then if it's working, you know, we'll go from there. If not, we'll do something different. You know, that's all you can do.
Okay.
But our kids are worth it. So
Oh, absolutely.
I'm excited to be a part of this, like I said, new group.
Okay, well, it's good to hear that things are moving forward in that, and they are looking at education very seriously. I wanted to briefly touch on something that happens here locally in Smith County. The Highway 25 remediation, they're going to do that project, and I've heard that it may be this year.
Right.
And I think basically they're just going to have one lane closed for a while, and they're going to scale that bluff and make it safer. Is that basically what you know that's being done?
Yeah, it is. I know that it went to contract. They got the contract on it. I think civil construction, the group. I think they actually did. They were the same guys that did the rock slide down the road.
Yes, on Highway 25. Yes.
Yes. So, but they said the completion, if I remember correctly, was going to be late spring, early summer. And yes, it's going to not be a nightmare like it was when we had to go around Turkey Creek and all around it through there. So it'll be one lane closed. You know, unfortunately in Tennessee, because we have such a beautiful state, we have a lot of rivers, a lot of water, a lot of rocks and hills, and that plays havoc on our roads. This is going to clear that back and make it safer. And my latest update was last month on the 13th, and we're good to go. Things are on target to move forward. One thing that I do want to tell you is I've not stopped my focus on 258, exit 258. That's extremely important.
And for those of you folks that maybe not in the county, exit 258 is on I-40, and that is our main exit into Smith County. And Smith County is located between Lebanon and Cookeville, and that exit 258 is a lifeline for us.
That's exactly right. And you know, it's also, you know, economic development. Any big businesses who especially have to move product in trucks, we want easy access, easy on, easy off, easy on. And so we've got some work to do at that exit. And it's, as you know, to do any kind of project to that degree, it takes 7 to 8, 10 years to get something in gear. We have I've got City of Gordonsville with Mayor Potts, and then of course the County Mayor Jeff Mason. They should be, if they haven't sent it already, it should be en route, a City Council and a County Commissioner resolution to me that I give to TDOT. I've done this already before with the prior administrations, but every new group of folk, you need to have a new resolution to keep that in front of TDOT. And I really think we're going to see this thing rock and roll. I really do. It's time. Again, it's going to take 5 to 7, 8 years to get it going. One thing that we do have in gear is a traffic light there on the north side of the interstate.
Right. On
the exit ramp going west. West. We need a traffic light there. It's pretty dangerous. And I don't know about you, Billy, but when I come out that exit from Cookeville, I go to the turn right, go to the Waffle House and do a U-turn and come back up. I don't want to make that cross.
Yeah, I usually try to turn.
It's pretty dangerous.
But you're right, it's difficult.
We haven't had any horrendous accidents there yet.
Yeah, we've been blessed on that. We haven't had one, but it is a hard turn to make. Well, I'm glad you're working on that, because that is a lifeline for us here in the county. Like the river was in the 1800s and like the railroad was in the 1900s, the interstate in the 2000s is their lifeline, and so it's very important, no doubt. One thing I wanted to mention before we got any further, we're on a Zoom call, of course, and you're sitting in the Capitol at your office, and we are doing this, and I'm going to step out of frame here for a second. We're doing this because of the generosity of some folks that made this possible. And I'm just going to read, this Zoom system and equipment and installation is provided by the generous donations from the following: Citizens Bank, Rackley Roofing Company, Riverview Regional Medical Center, Smith County Bank, Smith County Chamber of Commerce, the Pavilion Senior Living at Carthage, Tennessee Valley Authority, Volunteer State Community College, Wilson Bank and Trust. And then, of course, we have a projector here that was donated by Susan Gilbert. If it wasn't for the community working together, we wouldn't be able to do a lot of the things that we do. And this Zoom system is one of those. We are having classes from Vol State meet here now, and they're teaching on Tuesday and Thursday nights. So things are better in Smith County because people support.
Hey, you know, I'm all about teamwork, Billy.
Yeah, it takes all of us
Takes a team. Takes a team.
Takes us all to do that. Well, I think we're about out of time, so Representative Weaver, thank you so much for coming and visiting with us, and we hope we can do this again sometime, but I would rather have it in person.